What's up, my YouTube peoples? You're tuning into another episode of The Review Desk. Welcome to Jurassic World. We've got dinosaurs and we've got spoilers. Dominion is the latest installment in the Jurassic franchise, third in the World trilogy. Let's find out how this one fares. The good. Just like Fallen Kingdom, I applaud the filmmakers for trying new things in the franchise. Because how many times can someone open a potentially dangerous park that results in the death of several people? Dominion is also an improvement over Fallen Kingdom, albeit mildly, since that entire film hinged on several characters behaving like they lack brain cells. That's pretty much all the good I could find, so here goes. The bad. Despite branching out into new territory, this film simply lacks excitement. As I said, I'm happy they're trying to go for an original premise, but your execution can't be a poor one. I would have loved to see how humanity tries to adapt to dinosaurs roaming free, rather than a story about killer locusts and Taken not without my clone. It had such potential to really tell an original and engaging story. There's too many characters. So many that even the established characters feel like they're strange to us because they simply don't get enough airtime. This keeps any character, whether new or old, from being interesting. A lot of the events feel forced. There's a subplot involving engineered locusts that's used to bring Ellie Sattler back into the fray. Here's where we spiral down a black hole of pure coincidence. Sattler just so happens to be the paleobotanist who uncovers Biocin's shady dealings with the locusts. Then she so happens to recruit Alan Grant to assist her in collecting evidence against Biocin. Then she just so happens to be recently divorced. The minute she says this, it's pretty clear. They're gonna end up together. Bit of a cliche. But that's not where the black hole ends, true believers, because it just so happens that none other than Ian Malcolm is employed by said shady corporation and is in a position to supply Sattler and Grant with some much needed intel. The infiltration of Biocin just so happens to coincide with Maisie's kidnapping, leading to the legacy characters and the new gang inevitably meeting and teaming up. What are the odds, right? I would actually be more impressed if they had the nerve to kill off one of the returning legacy characters. The music. Michael Giacchino is probably one of the most popular composers in Hollywood right now. His main theme for The Batman is utterly brilliant. Here, however, it was clear that he wasn't allowed to stray too far from the music John Williams had scored for earlier entries in the Jurassic franchise. Which is a shame because I would have loved to see what he could do with this material. The dialogue feels like it's from a cringy low-budget movie. A lot that's obvious is uttered by the characters, and a lot of time they say things that you would never expect them to. And then there's the line,
"Hey! Eyes on me."
Oh my god. It's like the characters in this movie are force users. Numerous times, someone sticks the palm of their hand up and dinosaurs miraculously stop. Despite Maisie's super cringe line, it's still kind of plausible that she'd be able to pull this off. Guys, hear me out. She's been living with Owen for a while. Probably taught her a thing or two about training raptors. And Beta is said to be genetically identical to Blue, so she could respond to the gestures out of pure nature. But then Maisie tells Dr. Grant to redirect Beta, he sticks up his palm, and she follows him. There's no way it can be that simple. In Jurassic World, it's made clear that there's an extent to which Owen can contain the raptors, shown when he rescues an unlucky feeder from the raptor's enclosure. They stand down for a moment, but quickly turn on Owen, and if the gate behind him wasn't closed immediately, he'd be dead meat. I have a lot of gripes with Jurassic World, but I appreciated that there was a limit to what Owen could do with these dinosaurs. But even he doesn't get a pass in Dominion. He's been training specifically raptors for years. In Dominion, every new species he comes across for the first time stands down at a gesture of him raising his palm. Even the newly introduced laser-guided Atrociraptors. Speaking of which, these guys are another instance of the filmmakers taking incredible liberties with what some of the dinosaurs look like. Most of you think this is what a velociraptor looks like, because Jurassic Park and literally everything featuring raptors afterward told you so. This is what a velociraptor looked like, and this is what its size was. No larger than a grandma's golden retriever. The design is actually based on a dinosaur called Deinonychus. The late Michael Crichton, author of the Jurassic Park book, deliberately changed his species name to Velociraptor for the story because it felt it sounded more dramatic. No love for my man's Deinonychus, the Nikola Tesla of dinosaurs. Call me biased, but I really don't like it when they have the T-Rex lose to another dinosaur. Yes, it was bigger, but since you were a kid, you were told that the T-Rex was king, hence the name. I hadn't heard of either the Spinosaurus or the Giganotosaurus until I was an adult, so I hold no special regard for them. Speaking of legacy characters, the makers of the film have confirmed that the T-Rex featured is actually the one from the very first Jurassic Park. There's a few problems with this. One, another coincidence, it just so happens that it's the T-Rex who takes down the Giganotosaurus, albeit with the help of Tyrannosaurus, who looks like a mashup of Wolverine and Daredevil. Second, there's no way that same T-Rex is still alive. Allow me to elaborate. The T-Rex's lifespan was about 28 years. In the first Jurassic Park, released in 1994, we're introduced to the T-Rex as already fully grown. According to the American Museum of Natural History, T-Rex reached maturity at the age of 20. Let's give the film the benefit of the doubt and assume that the T-Rex had just reached maturity in 1994 and was no older than 20. That would still mean that 26 years later in 2022, this T-Rex would be 46 years old, well beyond the lifespan of 28. Now, some will say that the dinosaur DNA was integrated with that of common reed frog as stated in the first film, which is later used to explain why some of the dinosaurs have scales instead of feathers, and that this could also explain why the T-Rex has an extended lifespan. Unfortunately, the frog DNA would actually diminish the longevity, since the frog's lifespan is about 5 years, much lower from the 12 years of the average frog species. Assuming InGen didn't have the technology in 1974, an argument can be made that the T-Rex and other dinosaurs were subjected to accelerated growth to reach maturity faster. However, this would result in the T-Rex's lifespan being considerably shorter than the established 28 years. So, unfortunately, there's no possible way this could be the same Rex. Much like the franchise, it should have died a long time ago. In the end, there's just too much going on and with too many people involved. As in the first JP, Ian Malcolm is the one saying things we should all take note of.
Jurassic World? Not a fan.
If you like this video, hit that subscribe button. See you next time.